Welcome to the live season premiere of The Box Score. I'm your host, Brian Danoff. A lot has happened since our last episode. Giancarlo Stanton is a New York Yankee, Dwayne Wade is back in Miami, Louisville was stripped of their 2013 national championship, and Tom Brady now has 6 rings. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Tom Brady still has only 5 rings because his head coach, Bill Belichick, single-handedly cost the New England Patriots the Super Bowl. That's right. I'm going there. I usually try to be more nuanced with my sports arguments, especially when it comes to football. It's such a team sport, and if you claim a single player or play cost a team a game, you're likely forgetting about an injury or missed tackle or failure to convert on third down. I searched far and wide for other reasons why the Patriots lost Super Bowl 52, but time and time again, I came up with nothing. Benching All-Pro cornerback Malcolm Butler just minutes before kickoff and never putting him in the game is one of the worst coaching decisions I've ever seen. And before I begin, I'm no Belichick hater. What he's built in New England over the last 2 decades is truly something to marvel at. But that's what makes this so confusing. Why would Belichick bench his best defensive player and continue to sit him while backup quarterback Nick Foles tore apart the Pats secondary? Oh, but Brian, Butler missed a curfew. Come on. That's a great excuse to bench a player in week 2, but not in the Super Bowl. This is the biggest game of the season, and all hands should be on deck. Unless Butler literally killed someone, he should have been playing. And even if he did kill someone, we know that hasn't stopped a Patriot from playing in the Super Bowl before. I don't even think Belichick benching Butler was his worst offense of the night. It's what he said post-game.
The players out there and be the best tonight.
Come on, coach. Did you really put the best players in the field? And hey, credit to the Super Bowl champs. The Eagles played a hell of a game on both sides. But Nick Foles was only able to march down the field the way he did because the Patriots lacked the straw that stirs their defensive drink. Multiple players even admitted how unprepared and thrown off they were by Butler's benching. If benching Butler was really a football decision, Belichick should have made another football decision and put him in the game when he saw Alshon Jeffrey running circles around Eric Rowe. Belichick received plenty of criticism immediately following the game, but it seems like most people have already moved on. Sure, Belichick is a Hall of Famer, New Englanders weren't exactly starving for a championship, and when all is said and done, this will likely be just a blip on the radar for the Patriots. But Belichick benching Butler is something I just can't wrap my head around. If Butler's in the game, it's safe to assume Foles would have been less tempted to make deep throw after deep throw. Take away just one of the Eagles' numerous big gains downfield, and it might have been enough to not only give Tom Brady his 6th ring, but to keep the Eagles championshipless, something as a New York Giants fan I would have appreciated. Speaking of Nick Foles, despite winning the Super Bowl, the quarterback's future in Philadelphia is up in the air, with Carson Wentz expected to make a full recovery from a torn ACL. Tyler Meshgori has more.
Backup quarterback Nick Foles led the Philadelphia Eagles to their first Super Bowl win in franchise history after delivering an epic offensive performance against the New England Patriots. He was the ultimate underdog, and he showed that he is the embodiment of the term any given Sunday. However, in all likelihood, Foles won't be on the Eagles next season for a few reasons. Despite tearing his ACL, former MVP frontrunner Carson Wentz's rehab is reportedly going very well. If the Eagles feel confident he can pick up where he left off last season with no setbacks, then Foles is more valuable as a trade piece than a player on the roster. This is because Foles' stock is at an all-time high. Foles just led the Eagles to one of the most unexpected Super Bowl wins in recent memory, and in doing so grabbed a lot of attention. Quarterback-needy teams could offer early-round draft picks, a valuable asset for the Eagles, especially since the only pick they have in the top 100 is the 32nd overall. This is also supposed to be a rough offseason for the Eagles, where they have 14 contracts expiring and are currently $9 million over the cap. Turning Foles into a set of draft picks gives the Eagles more flexibility for filling holes that might be created after free agency. The reason it makes sense to trade Foles as soon as possible is a contract clause that would void his contract if he was on the Eagles roster at the end of the 2018 season. If this happened, Foles would walk away and the Eagles would get nothing for him. This rule does not apply for any other roster, so if Foles is on any other team in the league at the end of the 2018 season, his contract becomes an additional 3 years for $5.5 million a year. providing long-term, incredibly affordable stability at the position for a team that wants him. Most signs point to the Eagles shipping off Foles, giving him a chance at a starting gig while also bolstering their roster. However, it is important to consider that Foles came in and had one of the greatest postseasons for a quarterback in NFL history. The Eagles should absolutely entertain offers for Foles, but having a backup quarterback like Foles is a luxury that doesn't come around often. In a league where anything is possible and injuries can happen at any time, having a QB like Foles on the roster is life insurance for the position. There is also no guarantee that Wentz will be ready in time for the season to start. Keeping Foles could help them ease Wentz back into the starting role instead of forcing him to come in when he may not be completely healthy. This also gives Foles a chance to show that his magical postseason wasn't a fluke, and that he is capable of being a starter again in the league. So, it begs the question, what happens next for Nick Foles and the Eagles? I guess we'll find out in March.
Thanks, Tyler. The 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea, aka there's no Michael Phelps or basketball, never mind, let's just watch The Office, is well underway. But in all seriousness, the United States sent some incredible young Olympians to Pyeongchang, setting the country up for success not just this year, but for years to come. Katie Ree has more. Katie?
Thanks, Brian. I don't know about you, but I love watching the Olympics. Being a lifelong athlete, specifically a skier, I've had so many role models who started their Olympic careers when I was just a toddler. My childhood has consisted of watching Olympians like Kelly Clark, Lindsey Vonn, Bodie Miller, and Shaun White. However, time stops for nobody, and sadly, they won't be able to compete forever. Now, I'm not worried, and you shouldn't be either. This year, the stage was set for a new era of Winter Olympians. Chloe Kim was just 13 years old when she found herself on track to go to the Olympics in Sochi in 2014. However, her age was her only downfall, and she was forced to wait 4 years before finally competing in Pyeongchang. Now 17, Kim has held her own with some of the world's best halfpipe snowboarders, beating out Loo Jia-yu, Ariel Gold, and Kelly Clark, who Kim would later recognize with the Order of Ecos Medal for outstanding coaching. Kim wowed the snowboarding world not only by stomping back-to-back 1080s, but also putting up a near-perfect score of 98.25, breaking an Olympic record for highest score previously held by none other than Kelly Clark. For so many years, Lindsey Vonn dominated both the Olympic circuit and the World Cup circuit. The 33-year-old currently has 3 gold medals, 3 Olympic medals, 8 gold and 2 bronze, and 20 World Cup titles, but is giving way to a new rush of young skiers like 22-year-old Mikaela Shiffrin. Shiffrin has a gold medal from Sochi and 5 World Cup titles and another gold medal in Pyeongchang in giant slalom. Her original Olympic plan was to compete in all 5 disciplines: slalom, giant slalom, downhill, Super G, and alpine combined. However, she's only set to compete in 4 events, 2 of which have already concluded, and she has since pulled out of the downhill and will compete in her final event, the alpine combined, tomorrow night. 17-year-old Red Gerard had a series of unfortunate but hilarious events before winning the gold medal in men's snowboard slopestyle. The Ohio native not only misplaced his coat before the event, but almost missed the event entirely, blaming his late-night Netflix binge, which caused him to sleep through his alarm. Who hasn't done that? However, he left his mark on the snowboarding slopestyle world, becoming the youngest gold medalist, or medalist for that matter, in Olympic history. His incredible run ended with a bang, more specifically a backside triple cork 1440, which landed him the gold over Max Perov and Mark McMorris of Canada. Nathan Chen is just 18 and has already made history. With his incredible performance in the free skate, he solidified his position in Olympic history by being the first person to attempt 6 quads in competition. Chen placed 5th overall, jumping from a disappointing 17th after the short dance, and though he did not receive a medal, he has elevated the standard of competitive figure skating for the next generation of skaters. I can't wait to see what the new generations of Olympians bring to the table. And if you need me, I'll be wearing my Canada mittens and USA hat watching the rest of the Olympics. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks, Katie. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but don't touch that remote. Don't close that tab, because when we return, we'll discuss the NHL trade deadline, and later on, our very own John Newton challenged Emerson basketball star Geoff Gray to a one-on-one, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Emersonians, I'm Peyton Lewis, the host of the Evie-nominated and Evie-losing show, Common Agenda. Last season, we may have had a midlife crisis, but this summer we really found ourselves. After some deep soul-searching and some long nights mourning our defeat, we're back here for another season of the saltiest content and shenanigans on the Emerson channel. This season, we'll dive deep into Emerson's favorite subcultures: film bros, hipsters, and other white boys with brown hair. Turn us on Monday evenings at 8:30 on the Emerson channel.
Guys, I cannot have any more ramen.
Yeah, this food is really disgusting.
These are herbal cough drops.
Well, they're better than nothing.
I have some fruit if you guys want.
Those are Skittles.
Just trying my best.
Well, maybe we can just go to the DH?
What?
Oh my god, that stuff is prison food.
Well, do you have any other ideas?
Well, I'm like starving, so like we have to do something.
Did someone say something? Hi kids, Kitchen Man here. Did you know you can tune into Emerson Channel Called Kitchen for great dorm-friendly, budget-friendly recipes?
Okay, but like what if I need to go out to brunch with my girls?
Try Taste of Boston, where we profile great local restaurants in the Boston area. What if I only want to eat competitive chef's food? Tune in to Sliced, our brand new competitive cooking show.
I want to watch College Kitchen.
But wait! We are College Kitchen!
Welcome back to the live season premiere of The Box Score. I'm now joined by my buddies Jacob Fortgang and Paul Ross to discuss the NHL trade deadline, which is this coming Monday and could redefine the league for years to come. Guys, there are 4 teams who are looking to be extremely active at the deadline. Let's start with the dumpster fire in Madison Square Garden, otherwise known as my New York Rangers.
So I know I'm not supposed to have bias, but I'm sure my dad's watching this, and he would kill me if I didn't let you know that I'm a huge Rangers fan.
Same.
But it seems like it's anyone can go.
Yeah.
It's a yard sale. Anyone but Henrik Lundqvist is really on the move, whether that's Matt Zuccarello, Ryan McDonough. Obviously, Nick Holden was just traded right around the corner to TD Garden for the Boston Bruins.
So if you go and look at why these players are available, well, Ryan McDonough is a very good defenseman. He's very good defensively as well as offensively, and he can provide a lot for any team that really wants him. So there'll be a heavy price for Ryan McDonough, but it's something that the Rangers really want.
So are the Rangers looking, though, is this a complete, total blowing everything up? Because Henrik Lundqvist isn't going to be in goal forever. I mean, they're kind of saying they probably won't ever win a Stanley Cup with Lundqvist in goal.
Right, yeah, they're definitely going to blow up the team. I mean, they sent out a letter to their fans on February 8th saying that, hey, we didn't reach our goal, which is to win a Stanley Cup, and some guys that you might know and love will have to be dealt. Rick Nash is one of those other players. Rick Nash is maybe the biggest name out there in the trade deadline. He's a big winger who can skate well. He's got a big cap hit, but he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So that's something for any playoff team that's looking for a nice rental. Rick Nash can definitely do that. He can provide 20, 25, maybe even 30 goals. You also have someone like Matt Zuccarello, really good on the power play. And then you have Michael Grabner. Michael Grabner is a really fast skater. He's got a really cheap contract. And if he performs well for your playoff team, he might come back the next season.
I mean, is there anything the Rangers are looking to get back specifically? Anything in value? Any certain picks, certain players?
Young talent. They want young talent. It's for the next 5 years. You go back to 2004, and that was a team that brought in a bunch of older guys and tried to, scavenge the last couple of years of their career, and they're learning from their mistakes, and they're going to go and they're going to get those young talent that they need.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see what our blue shirts end up doing. But anyway, moving on, another team is the Edmonton Oilers.
Sure.
This is a fascinating team because last year, as you guys mentioned before we went on air, 1 win away from the Western Conference Finals, and here they are now with Connor McDavid, with that same core, and it's just not working, so they're going to clean house again.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about the Edmonton Oilers is they have the all-time worst home penalty kill percentage. They've started recording this stat 40 years ago, and no team has been as bad as the Edmonton Oilers at home killing penalties. It's something that I don't really understand. I don't think anyone who knows the sport really understands. But the Oilers are not the team that they were last season. They have a lot of players that they can deal and that teams would be interested in. One of those players, Patrick Maroon. Patrick Maroon is a big winger. He can provide some scoring, and he would help out in your top 6, maybe even top 9 on a really good playoff team. Someone else like Mark Letestu. Letestu can help out in your bottom 6. He's actually good at killing penalties, but somehow not for the Oilers. And he can help out a team with depth. And another guy like Oscar Klefbom. He's a defenseman who the Oilers are not really shopping, but he can bring a lot back as he's someone who's very young and he has some talent.
But you said it best, Brian. They have Connor McDavid.
They do.
He's a generational talent. That's somebody who you build around. And they brought some older guys in, like Lucic, like Maroon, but they're realizing that it's not going to work. And they're going to break it down, and they're going to look to the future. And I think they got a lot of tokens that they can really hand out and get a lot of stuff back. So.
And they have these pieces, like they have some young players like Kyler Yamamoto and Jesse Puljujarvi, who are pretty good players, who are not on their team right now and who can help them out next season. But Connor McDavid needs someone else to help him on the wings. He's not been ever surrounded by really good players as they've been dealt by Peter Chiarelli to other teams in the Eastern Conference, and that's something that Oilers fans are not happy about. But, you know, they could easily get back in the playoffs next year.
Sure. Well, going from a team that might get back in the playoffs next year to a team that is back to the bottom of the league, Arizona Coyotes, another team looking to just blow everything up. This is an explosive NHL trade deadline because all these teams are just getting blown to pieces.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Arizona was not expecting this season. They went out in the summer and they made a big trade with the New York Rangers, bringing in Derek Stepan and bringing in Antti Ranta, and they expected to have a good goalie and #1 center, and it just hasn't turned out great for them.
I wonder how Stepan feels knowing he's already lost the Stanley Cup. Normally doesn't find out until like mid-May. It's kind of interesting.
But, and if you go and look at Arizona, they expected maybe to make the playoffs this year, although they have some promising pieces. Clayton Keller is a young center who is fantastic. I mean, he can really help out the Coyotes in the future. But they have some pieces that they can deal. Like today, they actually made a trade. They traded Tobias Reeder, who is a depth winger, to the Los Angeles Kings along with backup goaltender Scott Wedgwood. And in return, they got back Darcy Kemper. Darcy Kemper is a backup goaltender who will help out Ranta. He's huge. He's 6'5", and he can really help them out. They're looking for a 1-2 punch in goal. Also, their big piece, their big fish, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Their general manager does not want to trade him.
Yeah, no.
They're not listening to offers, but I think it would be smart for John Chayka, the general manager, to trade Oliver Ekman-Larsson to get the biggest return possible. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is a fantastic defenseman. He's one of the top 5 best defensemen in the league, and you can get back a ton of players, ton of draft picks, ton of prospects.
Yeah, well, just wanted to touch on one more team real quick, the Ottawa Senators. And I mean, all the rumors surrounding Erik Karlsson, it's I don't know. What's the latest on that front, guys?
That's earlier this year, the unwritten rule of hockey was broken, and Drew Daddy kind of broke the silence and said, we expect to be paid more than PK, speaking about him and Erik Karlsson.
Right.
And that's something that the Ottawa Senators have to take in consideration. They came into the front office came down to the locker room and they explained to the players, give me your list, tell me who you don't want to be traded to, and no one is safe. And that's how they should approach this deadline. They've kind of came back on their word and said they want to keep Karlsson, but Karlsson's expected to make upwards of $10 million a year.
Yeah, right now, Erik Karlsson, he's under contract until next season, so in the 2019 offseason, he's available. He's making $6.5 million a year, which is pretty nice. He's expected to make over $9, maybe $10 million, as you said. The only player that Ottawa really does not want to trade, and I'm not including Karlsson here, because of late, teams have expressed their interest in Erik Karlsson, and Erik Karlsson sent in a 10-team I do not want to be traded list.
Wow.
That's part of his contract. So 20 teams, because Vegas is now the 31st team, are looking at Erik Karlsson and saying, hey, what about this?
Right.
Mark Stone. Mark Stone is a winger who's very good. He's not going to get traded from Ottawa. Mike Hoffman, he's a winger who can score about 30 goals, can be dealt to a team and can get a really nice package in return. Another one of those, former New York Ranger, Derek Brassard. Derek Brassard can easily get a prospect, maybe a second-round pick, and maybe a roster player in return, although Ottawa's asking for more. Not sure why, but Brassard's a good player.
Yeah, I absolutely wouldn't be surprised, and I know it's going to be painful for you as painful as for me.
Don't say it.
But the Pittsburgh Penguins are looking at him, trying to hook him back up with Carl Hagelin, and I could definitely see that
I already had enough trouble watching Hagelin win with the Penguins. Me too. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for being here. You guys are clearly the hockey experts for the box score. I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
So now for a look at who's hot and who's not, here is Ryan Ribeiro. Ryan?
Thanks, Brian. Well, how about Eric Hosmer for someone who's hot right now? The former Kansas City Royals first baseman has finally found a home after signing an 8-year, $144 million deal with the San Diego Padres on Saturday. The move likely sends former Rookie of the Year, but struggling Will Myers back to the outfield. It's an interesting move for the Padres, as these big money moves have clearly worked out for them before. Remember Matt Kemp and Justin Upton and James Shields? Well, yikes. But maybe this time will be different. Unfortunately, it appears the NBA dunk contest has gone back to its old ways. The dunk contest experienced a revival in the past few years with the likes of Zach LaVine, Glenn Robinson III, and Aaron Gordon putting on a show that had not been seen since Dwight Superman Howard and Nate Robinson. We unfortunately reverted back to the days of wearing a mask and doing an average everyday dunk like Victor Oladipo attempted with Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther mask. While winner Donovan Mitchell paid tribute to vintage Vince Carter in his final contest-winning dunk, he also received a perfect score of 50 for dunking over a crouching Kevin Hart and his son, which doesn't seem to be that hard of a feat, even if Hart was standing up. Over to the NFL, and a name every franchise desperate for a quarterback seems to now be talking about. Possibly the most coveted backup quarterback in football, A.J. McCarron will finally hit the open market after winning his grievance over the Cincinnati Bengals. The core of McCarron's case was the fact that he did not believe he should have spent the entirety of his rookie year on the non-football injury list. Now, the former national champion will become an unrestricted free agent and become a popular option for teams like the Cleveland Browns, of course, the New York Jets, and the Minnesota Vikings if they decide to move on from Case Keenum this offseason. After failing to pull the trigger on a trade for McCarron this past year, this could be a second chance for the Browns without having to give up a first-round pick this time around. Then again, this is Cleveland we're talking about. Now let's head over to the burning dumpster fire that is the New York Mets. After a semi-busy offseason for New York that resulted in bringing back outfielder Jay Bruce, adding a nice bullpen arm in Anthony Swarzak, and veteran third baseman Todd Frazier, the last player anyone wants to hear about is Tim Tebow. And right on cue, that is exactly who Mets general manager Sandy Alderson discussed on Sunday morning during a press conference. Alderson said that after a year and a half of training, it is, quote, a modest expectation that Tebow will make it to the major leagues after his commitment to improving. So the former Heisman Trophy winner, who batted .226 in single A last year, has somehow shown enough improvement to challenge the likes of Yoenis Cespedes, Michael Conforto, Jay Bruce, Brandon Nimmo, and Juan Lagares for an outfield spot on the major league roster. Then again, if the Mets have another 70-win season, maybe the Wilpons and Alderson will be so desperate to sell tickets that they'll start the Tim Tebow circus as soon as this summer. That's all for who's hot and who's not. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks, Ryan. When we return, we'll turn our attention to the NBA. Our guys will debate the favorites in the Eastern Conference. And does the box score's athlete in residence, John Newton, have what it takes to take down Emerson College basketball star Geoff Gray? Finally find out when the live season premiere of the box score returns.
Hi, I'm Aaron Kinnigsburg, host of EIV's The Dish. Tune in every Friday for your chance to see what kind of bow tie I pulled out of my closet today.
Maggie, did you print out the scripts yet?
No, that was your job.
Maggie, oh my God, I do it every week.
No,
I told you this is the one
but we
week I
talked
didn't
about
want
this.
responsibility.
Okay, I need to pick my wedgie.
Oh my God, look, they got us slushies. Freeze. Oh my God, we're here.
He's queer.
Now get used to it. Come on, give me my mic. Mic me. Hi, I'm Christian Mudrick.
And I'm Maggie Morlap.
And you're watching Real Reactions
on the Emerson channel.
Welcome back to the live season premiere of the box score. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. Our very own John Newton took on Emerson College basketball star Geoff Gray in a one-on-one for the ages, and we have the highlights. Roll the tape. It's fine. Okay.